Oh, Thanksgiving Day coming up. It's going to be a fun one. College hoop season tipping off with a blockbuster on Fox. #1 Gonzaga taking on #6 Kansas. Guys, this could be the biggest game of the year. Thanksgiving Day, 1 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Didn't even have to sell it. I'll be watching it. Can't wait. Time now for a little drawing a blank. Wilds, you diehard Patriots fan. You had me believing the Pats could and would beat the Texans yesterday. Not so much. They started strong, but they couldn't get anything going all afternoon. 27-20 Texans when all was said and done. Patriots now 4-6 and likely needing to win out the rest of the way if they want to see the postseason. Brandon, the Patriots' playoff chances now are blank.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear your answer, Wiles, but I'm going to go with finito. You guys lost to the Texans yesterday. Man, you guys are done. And I hate to sound like a hater right now, but it's been like 20 years. You guys had a phenomenal run. That run is over. Finito.
Yeah, I said irrelevant because the Patriots right now are irrelevant. And it's not about, well, could the Bills lose 3 of their next 4, and the Pats aren't any good. If you lose to the Texans, you stink. Those are the rules. I didn't make them. 2 teams have lost to the Texans this year, the Jags and the Patriots. The Texans' only wins had come against the Jags. So they lost to the Texans. So the Patriots' playoff chances are irrelevant because they're a bad football team, Wilds. Sorry.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Here's how much in denial I am. I think the Patriots are good. And I extend that to like, wow, the Jets are pretty good. The Jets are a good team. And then I watch this game yesterday, I'm like, wow, Texans are a good team. And they're not. But with all that being said,
I get it.
We are still alive.
Wow.
My answer is ET-esque. Yes, we certainly look dead, and there's dead flowers all around us. But we have winnable games coming up, so I'm not totally dead yet. I still have a red heart beating, and I might pop out of my ET chamber and enter into the playoffs. Well, I'll be honest with you. It's not looking.
Lost.
You're dead.
It's not looking.
dead.
I know, Brandon. We see the graphic.
Lost.
Brandon, we see the graphic.
Dolphins
we
lost.
all see it.
Buffalo
We all
lost.
see it.
All right, let's move on to we all see it. You've got blue hair.
Ooh.
Let's move on to Washington now, taking on the Bengals. The big story here, the loss of Bengals rookie quarterback Joe Burrow. Left the game in the 3rd quarter with a knee injury, likely an ACL. That'll knock him out the rest of the year. Burrow tweeting, I love this. Thanks for all the love. Can't get rid of me that easy. See you next year. It's a shame. So fun to watch him this season. Brandon, Joe Burrow's rookie season was blank.
Oof. Brutal sport, volatile sport. It's bittersweet. Because if you're an owner, general manager, head coach, you know you need to have that quarterback. You need to have the face of the franchise in that position. And so it's validation when you go out there and you see this guy warming up, you see this guy take the huddle, because you know you have your guy for the next 10 to 15 years. So it's a sweet moment for the organization. But now after that brutal hit and this devastating news, this ACL, it's not good. Like, you're riding high because you're thinking, you know what, if we can just get to offseason, bring our guys together. We have an offseason, we have preseason, we get better, we fix our offensive line, we're going to be right where we need to be. And now you got to deal with this. So it's bittersweet.
Yeah, I would. The injury's obviously terrible, but if it's just the ACL, guys typically recover from that pretty well. I would say his rookie season was promising. I was not as high on Burrow as a lot of people were coming out of LSU. I had said I'd take 2-1 over him, which was the drastic minority opinion, and Burrow looked really good. I know the win-loss record wasn't there for him this season, but if you watched the Bengals play, he kept them in nearly all of their games. They covered nearly every single week, and I think you're about to see over the final 6 weeks of the year how bereft of talent that roster really is when they have Ryan Finley out there trying to hold it together for him. So I actually think it was promising, even though it ends terribly for him, Wilds.
I agree. Just because he was the #1 pick doesn't mean it's a guarantee that he was going to make it. We've seen plenty of busts, and we still have the jury's still out on Sam Darnold. Wasn't #1, but he's a high pick. So I think that we all know that Joe Burrow is a star. And look, yeah, well, okay. Deshaun had an ACL. Tom Brady had an ACL. I think he's going to come back better than ever, and Bengals have their quarterback of the future.
Yeah, they do. All right, let's move on to Cleveland, where the Browns are off to their best start since 1994. Their win yesterday did come over a struggling Eagles team with a struggling Eagles quarterback, but it's still a win, and they improved to 7-3 thanks in large part to that defense. So, Brandon, the Browns improving to 7-3 is blank.
It's smoke and mirrors. The last 3 of their 4 games, they beat the Eagles, the Texans, and the Bengals. Like, come on. And they had the weather to play into, their hands. This team is built to run the ball. So when you have a hurricane outside and you have to run the ball, that's what you do well, then it protects you. It doesn't expose Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has to be the reason you win games. And that's not, he hasn't answered that question yet.
Why?
So it's smoke and mirrors. Why? Because...
Why?
Why does he have to? Because this is the National Football League. You need to play good defense, and you got to have a quarterback that is capable of getting it done. The same reason why you keep talking about Phillip Rivers, smoke and mirrors.
Okay, so the Browns improving to 7-3 is not show-worthy, meaning this show. Because there aren't many hard and fast rules for this show, but one of them in the official First Things First bylaws reads as follows. We will only discuss the Browns after losses. And so I'm shocked it even came up here because I figured we might go a month without mentioning them because when they win games and look good, they don't get discussed because it doesn't fit the narrative that some folks on this show have carefully manicured. And so, I mean, yeah, listen, 7-3. 7-3. I mean, here's the full list of AFC teams with a better record than the Browns. The Steelers and the Chiefs. That's it. That's your list. But yeah, so I'm shocked it made the show, Wilds, because we don't talk about the Browns when they win, which is most of the time.
Okay. I had an answer about the weather, but now I'm going to go back because the guy's playing well. And just for the record, everybody, because Mangini tried to use this on me and the Patriots, like, the weather. Both teams have to play in the weather. Carson Wentz play. Both teams have to play. But Nick, it's 8:08. Half an hour ago, you were yelling that the Colts didn't have a chance because of Phillip Rivers. And Brady, you bring up a good point. I don't just want to just move on. It's literally the same take that you have for Phillip Rivers is the Browns. It's a good team that runs the ball well and plays great defense. But Phillip Rivers, liability, blah, blah, blah.
You know the difference?
Him and his commercials.
Hey, hold on. Stay here. Stay here. You want to know the difference? Raise your hand if you think the Browns can make the Super Bowl. Anybody? Nobody's arguing that.
No.
I didn't know. Well, then zip it, y'all.
Why do you keep standing on the table for them?
The point was the Colts can't make the Super Bowl. Neither can the Browns.
You have them as a
out here saying they stink and Baker stinks. No, I don't. No, I don't. They are not a Super Bowl contender. Zip it. They're not. Nobody thinks they can make the Super Bowl.
I don't even want to move on.
Contenders.
Why do we have to move on? I love that conversation. All right, move on to Tampa now. Tom Brady and the Bucs hosting Jared Goff and the Rams tonight. Brady's Bucs 0-3 in prime time this season, but they're hoping that a week of night practices and maybe pushing his bedtime a little bit later will lead to a better performance tonight. So, Brandon, the player you're most excited to watch in tonight's Rams-Bucs game is blank.
Oh, another quarterback discussion. Let's see what Nick has to say. I'm going to go with Tom Brady. Look, Tom Brady on prime time this year hasn't performed well. Now, I love Tampa Tom. Nick doesn't. Nick is going to find a way to hold this man down. He is the GOAT. But Tampa Tom, we know what happens in the locker room. I still got to hold you accountable, although I'm a retired guy. You have to play better. So I'm interested to watch Tampa Bay and Tom Brady and see how they perform on prime time. They need to act like they're woke and not sleepy Tom. We don't need that sleepy Tom.
I'm not sure how woke Brady is, but I'm going to go with the guy who might go down as the GOAT and currently is still playing like it, Aaron Donald. I am so excited, like almost beside myself excited to watch Aaron Donald tonight. Because you know who's not? The guy who's going to get to see him up close and personal the whole night. Your guy, Tampa Tom. Because there's one thing we know unequivocally about the Tampa Bay Bucks, you get pressure on the quarterback, they lose. It's that simple. If you can't get pressure like Carolina couldn't, they look like the best team in the league. You get pressure on them, all of a sudden, good God, they just lost to Nick Foles. Good God, they just got annihilated by the Saints. Aaron Donald is going to create pressure. So he's the one I'm most excited to watch, Wires.
Yep, I'm right there with you. That's O-line. Ali Marpet out again. Had a concussion 2 weeks ago. He missed 2 games. They thought he was going to play. He practiced all week. He's out. So I think this offensive line, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky, Brandon. Plus, I'm very interested in your sort of like goodnight moon take that Tom gets sleepy after 8:30. It's the best take in all sports media right now.
It is a good take by
Among the many quarterbacks